In this video, we're going to talk about how to name ionic bonds. Quick review. Ionic bonds deal with a metal and a nonmetal. You're going to have a formula that has a metal and a nonmetal. Let's look at calcium. Let's look at calcium bromide. Okay, calcium bromide. Now, I just told you the name. Let me write it real fast. And now let's look at the name. You've seen this before, or at least you've seen the idea of it before. In your packet that we've been doing in class, you saw this. There were questions that asked for every single one of these elements and compounds listed in the Model 2, what's different about that last name? And your answer should have been, and most of you had this answer, it always ended in IDE. That's true. Whenever you name ionic compounds, the last three letters of that last element is going to have IDE at the end of it. The first element stays the same. The word calcium, nothing changed. It's still calcium. The last name, the last element changed to IDE. Some of you have asked in class, how do we know when to put the IDE, what letters to take off? And honestly, it's just, you have to make it sound right. Bromide was bromine. You just have to look at it and tell where it looks good to cut it off, where it sounds good. Bromide sounds the best. If you were doing oxygen, oxygenide, not going to work. Oxygenide, not going to work. So the way that it sounds the best is just with oxide. Now if you're on a test and you put something like, oops, that's a Y, oxygenide, not going to take off points because you know the idea. You still have it ending in IDE. You just have to think about it and make sure that it sounds correct. So, recap. First element stays exactly the same. Second element, you change it to IDE. Let's do another example. Let's do this one. Look at it. Look at a periodic table. Let's take some time to pull out your periodic tables. Okay. The first element is right here. What's its name? Its name is boron. The second element is right here. Its name is fluorine. We know that the first element stays exactly the same. The second element, we have to change the last three letters to be IDE. So we're going to keep boron the same. And then check this out. How does it sound right? Fluoride? Not quite. Fluoride sounds better. So this is the name for BF3. Now, that's for the ions, for the cations that only have one possible cation. What if it has more than one? First of all, you'd have to know if it has more than one at this point. You have to know, if I give you this, you have to click and you have to say iron. Iron has more than one possibility for its cation. So then what you have to do is you have to figure out which one this is. What cation is that? Remember from the previous lesson, and maybe even the lesson before that, we crisscrossed to get these numbers here. So basically all you have to do is uncrisscross them to get its charges. Fe's charge was 3. Oxygen's charge was 2. Fe's charge was 3. Oxygen's charge was 2. We know that this is the cation and this is the anion. Now you need to put that in words. We know that the name doesn't change. It's still iron. This is a transition metal that has multiple cations, so you tell me its charge. Its charge is 3. You put in a Roman numeral 3. The second name changes. This was oxygen. We talked earlier that you change that to oxide. Iron 3 oxide is its name.